Fanta, the Vols, Chaz Lanier. He's been awesome.
Mhm.
Tennessee went down to the Bahamas, to the Baja Mar, and they beat Virginia by 22 and held them to 42 points. Then they beat Baylor by 17.
Oh, how could they hold Virginia to 42 points?
Yeah, no, impressive, right? But the Baylor win was impressive to me, even if it was on a night where, it was right after Baylor ended up playing like a double overtime absolute thriller. And we'll talk about Baylor in a second, just if you're worried about them. But Chaz Lanier's been awesome. Tennessee's been awesome. I don't know why I'm surprised anymore with these guys.
I will take the victory lap on this because I told you before the season on this show multiple times that I would not doubt in Tennessee's ability to contend for an SEC championship, even in a loaded SEC. What Rick Barnes has done is he has maintained his defensive DNA with his teams while getting the portal has been a benefit to Rick Barnes while finding a bucket getter he can play through. Remind you of anybody? Wisconsin? Like, there's some similarities here to how these coaches are getting it done. In the win over Baylor, Tennessee converts on 12 threes. T.O., if the Tennessee Volunteers hit 12 threes in a game against anybody, are they losing to anyone?
No. I think the magic number for Tennessee, they hit 8, you're in trouble.
That's it. And I thought that in the game against Baylor, Baylor was worn down defensively. No question about that. From the night previous, but Zakai Ziegler shot 2 for 7 in this game but he had 9 assists. And look, Lanier's a big reason for that, but Ziegler didn't score at all, really. And they beat Baylor. They beat the brakes off them, beat them by 15. They've got a team that actually has some depth as well. Like, Jordan Gainey continues to give this Tennessee team some bursts off the bench. And when you can do that, again, on a team that's always going to guard, they guard at the level that a Houston does every single year. They're right there in the analytics. And then you throw in Cade Phillips, a sophomore.
He's been good.
Who's been good for this team. An X factor as a sixth man. And, the shooting piece. I think when Tennessee was going through, remember a couple of years ago, they're going through some droughts. They can't win in the tournament. We're talking about how they can't win in the tournament. And I think that they have figured out, whether it be Dalton Connect or Chaz Lanier, what it takes to sort of get it all to click. And right now they're clicking. And, it might be a hot take. I don't care if it is. But Tennessee, I believe right now, is the best team in the Southeastern Conference. I do believe that they're the best team. I know that people would argue out with me on that because of what Auburn did against Houston, and I need to see more from Auburn. And the reason why I say that is because Tahad Pettiford had an out-of-body experience shot-making-wise. Maui soft rim should help Pettiford, should help Kelly, and should help Miles. But there's still some concern with me in terms of their ability to shoot the way that they did against Houston all throughout the week at Maui. Whereas Tennessee, I've now seen them do it against multiple high major opponents on the road. They've beaten 3 high major teams all away from Knoxville.
Yeah, and in those 3 games, Chaz Lanier is averaging over 23 points a game. And he's shooting over 50% from 3 in those 3 games. He's had his 3 best games against Tennessee's 3 best opponents. And T.O., I remember when we did the Tennessee preview, I said, I'm a little worried about Rick Barnes recruiting a team where it feels like he's got too many finesse guys and not enough like big, physical, old defensive menaces. And I don't know if they're going to be able to be who they are while also being this finesse kind of shooting team. Well, that was really dumb. That was a really dumb thing for me to say, and I got that one really wrong because they're great defensively, and now all of a sudden they can put like 3 or 4 shooters on the floor at the same time, and they're spaced and they're spread out, and they haven't lost. They're number 2 in the country in defense on Ken Pop. It's just it's incredibly. And here's the thing that's most impressive to me: when Rick Barnes left Texas, when he lost the job at Texas, and he got the job at Tennessee, I remember the narrative was kind of like, well, why would Tennessee want this retread? He wasn't interested when he was at Texas. He lost the fire. He lost the enthusiasm. It kind of felt a little bit like Calipari going from Kentucky to Arkansas, that same kind of vibe where it was like, well, this is just he's getting his retirement paycheck basically. Well, turns out he's turned Tennessee into an absolute juggernaut.
Yes, year in, year out too. And it's you recruit offense, you coach defense, and I think you recruit offense, but you also recruit bodies that can play defense. So you look at Chaz Lanier, really big across the shoulders, 6'5", 210, strong. Look at Igor Milicic, 6'10", 230-ish, strong. Wasn't the most physical guy at Charlotte. Didn't really matter. You go to Tennessee, you're physical by proxy because that's how they're all going to play. Zakai Ziegler, though, the fact that he is playing as well as he is at 5'9" and being kind of the focal point is kind of nuts because he's creating all these shots for some of these other players. I do think there's going to be a correction a little bit with Chaz Lanier. You're not going to shoot 55% from three all season long. So it's just not going to happen. Like I love the kid. I think he's good. That's not going to happen. So there's going to be a bit of a correction. But the fact of the matter is when you have so many other shooters on the floor at one time, that hasn't always been the case. Whenever they played Julian Phillips, who struggled with his three, whenever they played some of these other guys at the 3-4 that couldn't shoot, it made it difficult for them to run a lot of offense. Now they're able to put 3 and 4 shooters on the floor and be physical defensively. So is Tennessee the best team in the SEC right now? I would still venture to say Auburn because I just put so much on that Houston win in Houston, in the city of Houston. So that's kind of where I differ from Fanta. But that all being said, Auburn has a massive test today, Iowa State. They win that one. I don't think there's much of a choice but to say that, Auburn. Yeah, Auburn's the best team in the SEC. Great chance for them. I had Tennessee at third behind Alabama and Kentucky. I still feel like Tennessee's very much in that top mix coming into the year. You still kind of wonder where is the offense going to maintain? Is it going to keep going? Because they put such an emphasis every single possession on the defensive end of the floor. It's really hard to play like that the entire 40 minutes of a game. I think he can continue. I think they're that good. Tennessee's really good. Chaz Lanier isn't doing Dalton Connect things. He's been a little bit more patient because the ball's moved and he's found opportunities. But like the fact of the matter is, with Jordan Gainey playing better, with Cade Phillips stepping up into a bigger role, like I like the way this team's put together, and defensively we know what they're going to be.